It was my first year at university. I had just unpacked my things and said goodbye to my family. Once they left, I found myself alone in the dorm room trying to adjust. Later that evening, my roommate Dale finally showed up. Right from the moment we met, something felt off about him. He was socially awkward in a way I couldn't put my finger on. I stretched out my hand for a handshake, but Dale just stared at it like he didn't understand the gesture. After a long, uncomfortable pause, he chuckled awkwardly, then gave me a weak handshake, almost like he had no idea how to do it. His name was Dale, though I had to ask because he never introduced himself. I tried to break the silence with small talk, but all he could muster were short, uninterested responses. It was like pulling teeth. Within minutes, we both retreated to our beds, staring at our laptops. The air was thick with silence. I was already thinking of requesting a new roommate. Anyone would be better than this strange guy. That night, I struggled to sleep. Dale didn't seem to need rest. He stayed glued to his laptop until 3 a.m., the light from his screen casting odd shapes in the room. Eventually, I drifted off but woke up within the hour. Something felt wrong. The blinds were open, and there in the dim moonlight, I saw Dale sitting on the edge of his bed, staring at me. I rubbed my eyes, confused. "Dale, what are you doing?" He whispered back, almost as if in a daze. "Sorry." Then he just laid down like it was nothing. The next day, things only got stranger. I was walking by the campus gardens when I noticed something odd. Dale, of all people, was sitting in the dirt behind some bushes, rubbing the bark of a tree. It wasn't something you expect to see on a busy campus. I didn't know how to react, so I didn't say anything. When others started whispering about it, I awkwardly admitted that Dale was my roommate, but that wasn't the worst part. That night, I returned to the dorm, and when I opened the door, I found Dale sitting at the desk chair, facing the door without saying a word. I tried to engage him, but he was completely mute. I sat down and opened my laptop. To my horror, all my emails were opened, and folders I hadn't even touched were accessed. I asked him if he had been through my things, and without missing a beat, he denied it. But the way he said it, too quickly, too definitively, I could tell he was lying. I decided not to press the matter further, but the unsettling feeling in my gut was growing. As I prepared for bed, I noticed something else. My bag had been rifled through. My clothes were out of place, and I could tell someone had been in it. That night, I couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The next morning, I was determined to get out of there. But before I could act, things took a dark turn. That night, I woke up to a faint clicking sound. It wasn't constant, but every few seconds I heard it, right at the door. My heart raced. I grabbed my phone, dialed campus security, and waited for what felt like an eternity. When they finally arrived, I opened the door to find Dale standing there, wide-eyed and trembling. He had been trying to break into my room. I never saw him again after that night. I was moved to a new dorm, and campus security assured me they would take care of it. I don't know what happened to Dale after that, but I never heard from him again. It was supposed to be the perfect weekend getaway. A few friends, a remote cabin, and a couple of days away from the chaos of city life. I was excited, even though I'd heard rumors about the place. People said it had a strange history, but I wasn't one to believe in ghost stories. We arrived late at night. The cabin sat alone, isolated on the edge of a thick forest. The air was cold and still, the kind of stillness that seemed unnatural. At first, it felt like a cozy escape, but as the night wore on, the atmosphere changed. It wasn't just the wind or the creaking of the old wood, it was the feeling that something was watching us. Around midnight, we were all sitting in the living room, laughing and talking, when we heard the first thud from upstairs. It was muffled at first, like something heavy falling. We brushed it off, thinking it was the house settling, but then it happened again and again, louder each time. Jenna, the bravest of us, decided to investigate. She walked up the stairs, but when she reached the landing, the noise stopped. There was only silence, and then she screamed. When we rushed upstairs, Jenna was standing frozen in the hallway, staring into an empty room. The walls were covered in strange symbols, some of which looked freshly carved. We quickly packed up to leave, but when we tried to get into the car, the headlights wouldn't turn on. Panic set in as we realized we were trapped. Something was preventing us from leaving. That's when the knocking started, soft at first, then louder and faster, like something or someone was banging on the walls. We spent the night locked in the cabin, too terrified to sleep. The knocking continued, growing more frantic, until the sun finally rose. We left as fast as we could, and I haven't been back to that cabin since. I had always been curious about the dark web. I'd heard the horror stories, people getting caught up in illegal activities, strange people lurking in the shadows, but I didn't think much of it. After all, I had been on the regular internet for years, so how bad could the dark web really be? One night I decided to take the plunge. I downloaded the necessary software, carefully followed the instructions, and entered the hidden world of the internet. It was much darker than I imagined. Strange sites, disturbing forums, and videos that made my stomach turn. But there was one link that caught my attention, a message board that claimed to offer exclusive content. I clicked on it, eager to see what was behind the curtain. But as soon as the page loaded, my screen went black. For a moment, I thought it was just a glitch, but then my phone buzzed. I checked it, and the text was chilling. "We see you." I froze. How could they know I was using my phone? Suddenly, the lights in my apartment flickered. I tried to exit the site, but my mouse wouldn't move. My screen started to flash images, disturbing, grotesque images, too fast for me to process. I closed my laptop in panic, but the next few days were even worse. Strange emails flooded my inbox, each one with a different cryptic message. One said, "You can't hide from us." Another, "We know where you live." That's when the knock came at my door. I didn't open it. Instead, I peeked through the peephole only to see a man standing motionless in the hallway. He was staring directly at the door, unblinking. I called the police, but by the time they arrived, the man was gone. No trace, no footprints. The emails and messages stopped after that, but I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. I haven't visited the dark web since that night.
I was at a thrift store when I first saw it. An old, ornate mirror. The frame was covered in intricate designs, and the glass seemed to shimmer with a strange energy. I didn't need a mirror, but something about it called to me. I bought it and took it home. At first, it was just a normal addition to my bedroom. But then strange things began to happen. Late at night, when I would wake up to use the bathroom, I'd catch a glimpse of something in the mirror. A figure standing just behind me, always just out of my line of sight. Every time I turned around, there was nothing there. At first, I thought it was my mind playing tricks on me, but it happened more and more until I couldn't ignore it any longer. The figure was always the same, tall, with long dark hair and a shadowy face. I tried to get rid of the mirror, but every time I moved it out of the room, it would mysteriously return. I even tried to break it, but the glass wouldn't shatter. It was like the mirror was fighting me. One night, I decided to confront it. I stood in front of the mirror, staring at my reflection. I wasn't sure what I expected, but as I gazed deeper, I saw something I couldn't explain. The figure behind me didn't just stand there, it smiled, its eyes gleaming with malice. Before I could react, the mirror cracked. A deep, hollow sound filled the room. I stumbled back, but when I looked again, the figure was gone. The mirror was still intact, but I knew something had changed. I've kept it in storage now, far away from me, but I don't think it's finished with me yet. Every time I close my eyes, I feel its eyes on me.